which is French for I don't have any words. And the point was that we were trying to describe certain feelings and certain, and sometimes words fail you. And so she is French, or she has French in her background. And so I thought it would be fun to use a French phrase, but basically say, I'm having a really hard time expressing myself in words. So that's where the song came from. You crazy kids, you guys. Oh. Yes, sir. No. Shortest answer ever. Yes.
When did you decide you wanted to be a voice actor?
You know what? I never decided I want to be a voice actor. I just want to be an actor. I promise you, Travis, Laura, nobody you ever meet. Crispin, anybody you ever met? Voice actors? They're all actors. They're just looking for an opportunity to act, to create a character. The difference is that in voice acting, you don't have the benefit of your facial features and your body language and your gestures and your physical presence. All you have is your voice. It's still acting, but you just don't have all of the same tools that you would if you're on stage, for instance. Every one of us. My minor in college was theater. Lucy Christian, she has a master's degree in theater. All of us, everybody I know, Monica Rial, Chris Patton, Greg Ayers, all of us have tons of theater experience. Acting, 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 acting. The key word in voice acting is acting. So there are a lot of people out there that make funny voices. They can do funny voices, but that's not really what it's about. It's about acting a role. And so we always encourage people, get as much experience as you can acting, because that's the most important thing. Yes?
Is Funimation and ADV Films are close together? It seems like you've been switching.
Well, ADV Films is in Houston. And that's where I live. I live in Houston, and then Funimation's in Dallas. For years and years, never the two would meet. They were basically competitors doing the same thing. But about, when was it? Wow. When did I do Broly? Anyway, probably 6 years ago. 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I was at a convention with some of the Funimation people. And shortly after the convention was over, I got a phone call from Mike McFarland. And Mike said, hey, this is Mike. I met you at the con. Can you do like a mean, dark, kind of an angry voice? And I was like, what do you mean, on the phone? Right now? And he goes, yeah, just something. And I was like, what do you want me to say? And he was like, yeah, that'll be good. And so they cast me to play Broly in Dragon Ball Z. And I was the first ADV actor in Houston to go to Dallas and work with Funimation. And then I did Yu Yu Hakusho, and Kitty Grade, and Spiral, and Case Closed. And then somewhere along the line, Monica Rial, and Chris, and Greg, and Tiffany, and Hillary, and John Grimion, and John Swayze from Houston all started going up to Funimation. And we've even had, McFarlane, Caitlin, Colleen have done work at ADV. So we've kind of cross-pollinated our acting pools between the two studios. But to be honest with you, I think probably you guys benefit.
My friends miss you as Fugaji.
Oh, yeah. Well, now see, the story with Sayuki, you guys, for those of you that don't know, is ADV did the first season of Sayuki, and they did really well with it. It was a very good series for them. But when it came time to do Reload, the Japanese company that owns Sayuki said, ADV's done a really good job. I bet we could get more money for Reload than we got for, what was it, Gunlock? No, Gensumaden, right?
Guns
Anyway,
Raiden.
whatever. And so instead of just giving it to ADV, because ADV did such a good job with the first series, they started shopping it around. And a studio in LA offered them more money for it, and so they gave it to the studio in LA, and the studio in LA just completely recast it with different people, which is unfortunate because I know I speak for Greg Ayers, and I'm sure Illich and myself, we would love to have been happy to go to LA and continue playing the characters.
Yeah.
But that opportunity didn't come up. So that's why we didn't do Reload. But I hear there's a third series, a third season, and hopefully we might get a chance. Now that Jenny is no longer here, who really knows what's going to happen with Sayuki? So, yes.
Okay, I have a couple questions for you. Let's see. Okay, first off, if you could control an element, what would that element be?
Fire. No, I'm just kidding.
Fire.
Oh yeah. Also, would you mind me putting you on the internet?
Of course. No. No, I think we all know that there's plenty of that going around.
Would you mind if I were to sing one of your songs, would it be okay for me to put that online?
I would love it. In fact, you better send me a link
Okay.
because I want to hear it.
I'd love to.
I would love that. Go ahead.
Better email it to him.
I sing your
He'll
song
hunt
all
you
the time.
down if you don't.
Yes.
What was the first convention that you attended as a guest?
The first convention I ever attended was OhioCon in Columbus, Ohio. And it was funny because I'd done a lot of roles, but they were all kind of secondary characters. It was like Kurtz Weber and Kugaji, and I mean they were fun characters, but they weren't lead roles. I had done Gaul and Generator Gaul, but that wasn't a big show. So it was really interesting because I went to this con and it was really a very exciting experience and very new to say the least. But then I've told you guys this before. I'm a big geek like you are. You have no idea. When I was young, Star Trek conventions. Star Trek was the thing, man. And you don't know anybody who was closer to Captain Kirk than me. What? Oh, well, you guys saw my Captain Kirk shirt yesterday, right? And you know what? Laura was like, I love your shirt. I want your shirt. I'm like, so I went back to my room last night and I bought Laura one online. Anyway, so I loved Star Trek. I would make costumes. I would go to conventions. I would get autographs. So I mean, I totally understand what this is about. It's just, it's a different thing, but it's very much so, yeah. So, and you know what's really cool, you guys? Can I just tell you one of my neatest moments at a con? I just told you what a huge fan I was of Star Trek, right? When I was 12 and 13 and 14, I mean, it was everything to me. I would sit and make communicators and phasers in front of the television while I watched the episodes. I recorded every episode on audio cassette, and I had a trumpet case. Remember the empty trumpet case? I broke it up into 3 partitions: first season, second season, third season, and I had them all. And I would go to sleep at night with the cassette player under the pillow, listening to Star Trek episodes. I'm not kidding. I could quote entire shows verbatim. I mean, of Star Trek, the original Star Trek. I mean, somebody last week, Anime LA, somebody comes up and goes, I said something like, there probably isn't a question you couldn't ask me about the original series that I don't know. And some kid in the back, cocky kid, goes, I said, what? And he goes, yeah, I got a question. He goes, what class starship does the Enterprise? And I went, Constellation class. And he goes, anyway, here's one of my greatest moments. Last year, I was a guest at a convention in Toronto, Canadian National Expo. Well, guess who else was a guest? William Shatner. So I get to Toronto, they give me my credentials, my badge and stuff, right? and they give me the program book. The program book is this beautiful full-color book, and on the front of the book, Canadian National Expo, 2007. And and they have 4 panels, 4 color panels, that represent the 4 main things that the con is about. Sci-fi, comic books, television, you know what I mean, and anime.